From The Reporter, the paper of record for Delaware County's towns and villages, this is Off the Record, a quick look at the latest county news. I'm Andrew Kantor, and this week we've got the return of the Constitution Pipeline, kerfuffles in Bovina and Bloomville, worries about SNAP benefits and HEAP benefits, and more. So all that said, let's get to it. That big, beautiful bill, it doesn't look so beautiful for Delaware County. The state is going to be getting a lot less money for SNAP benefits, food stamps for low-income people, and those cuts might end up trickling down to the county level. Delaware County Commissioner of Social Services Keith Weaver said it looks like the state will need to contribute 15% of the cost of the benefits starting in 2027, and it's also going to have to pick up more of the administrative costs. According to Weaver, it might mean the county will have to shell out up to $250,000 a year. Oh, and if an adult is out of work, they could be limited to 3 months of food stamps. Good thing there are plenty of jobs available in the area, because now they can no longer use lack of jobs as an excuse for not working. Somewhere, this makes sense. The good news is that Delaware County's millionaires and billionaires will be seeing a tax cut. And people who rely on the Home Energy Assistance Program, HEAP, to keep warm in the winter? Weaver said he doesn't know what's happening with that program, but he's, quote, hopeful it will be funded. He did, though, caution against panic. Maybe it'll be a mild winter. So remember the Constitution Pipeline project from a few years ago? It was pretty much dead, but now it might be crawling out of the grave. The developer that wants to build it, Williams Company, is being a little sneaky. Legal, but sneaky. It wasn't planning to notify towns that it's going to try to get approval for the pipeline again. It figures that since it talked to property owners, 5 or 6 years ago, it doesn't have to do that again. But word leaked out, and now the Sidney Town Council knows about it, and so do environmental groups, which have already gotten the project stopped once. See, the problem is the pipeline, which would bring natural gas to New York and maybe New England. It needs to cross something like 250 waterways and trout streams and old-growth forests. So not only would these areas need to have some heavy-duty construction done, there's always the risk of leaks. The question is, and this is going to be a big deal, how much economic benefit will it really bring? Yeah, it's definitely going to hurt the environment, but a lot of things hurt the environment, so it's a trade-off. How much damage, how much benefit? Let the wild rumpus start. There is a big kerfuffle going down in Bovina. Town officials voted to spend nearly $8,000 to survey a wooded parcel of town-owned land. It's near the transfer station and the town's salt shed. They're talking about harvesting the timber, and that could be worth around $50,000, and the money would go for stuff like playground upgrades. Now you'd think everybody would be okay with that. Oh, not in Bovina. Folks there had some problems with it. When you take down trees, you get erosion, and you get water flowing where you might not expect it, and some of the loggable land is near people's homes. And if you clear the land above the transfer station, the garbage transfer station, you might get runoff running into there and into the salt shed, and that's not good. And then there's the fact that someone did the math and figured out that after the logger takes its 50% cut of the sales, and after the town pays for the survey and then restores the land so it's not an eyesore, there's just not going to be a lot of money left over. So maybe it's just not really worth it. Maybe they could get a state grant to fix up the playground. The town board, they promised nothing will happen without careful planning, and Supervisor Tina Mole said they might try to avoid logging behind residents' homes, and she would never lie. So, what else is happening in the county? Bloomville. And nothing against the town, it's just that there's, let's call it a heated discussion going on there. Probably starting later this year, a house there is going to be used for transitional housing, a place for people to transition from being homeless to independent living. Do I have to explain why residents there are concerned about transitional housing? Transitional house? You get the picture. Now, to be fair, some of the questions for the town council were about what kinds of programs and staff would be there for the people living there, but one resident kind of summed things up pretty well, asking, why does this have to be in Bloomville at all? Electric vehicle chargers in Sidney are already bringing in some revenue for the town. Not a lot, so far about $200 a month, but it's only been a couple of months. At least it means the chargers are being used, and probably a lot more than anyone expected. There's a website, it's called PlugShare, and it maps all the chargers in the country. Sidney's are already listed, so travelers can find them. Speaking of Sidney, no, it's not getting an Aldi, stop asking. It is getting a Stewart's Plus at the old Great American Plaza. That's the good news, we told you about that already. The slightly less good news is that construction probably won't begin until next year. You'll know something is happening when they start demolishing the old building. Breaking news! The Speedway gas station and market on State Route 28 between Margaretville and Arkville, it will soon identify as a 7-Eleven. For the next few weeks, it's going to reduce its hours so it can assume its new identity. Congrats to UHS Delaware Valley Hospital, which scored itself a $20 million grant through the state's Department of Health, and that's going to help pay for its new building and big expansion. And by the way, the big expansion, it's supposed to break ground a little later this year. Well, that's all for this week in Off the Record, but there's plenty more in the Reporter. Sidney, it bid a fond farewell to Shane Nordberg, its longtime water and sewer chief. He's retiring after 37 years with the village. The county's big weather station project, it's moving ahead. And there's still no agreement between local officials and the New York City Department of Environmental Protection over possible land acquisition. Oh, and Downsville's got itself a new sign warning about a dangerous intersection. And there's even more. You'll just have to pick up the paper, or better yet, subscribe. Head over to the-reporter.net. It's your hometown paper, after all. Until next week, I'm Andrew Kantor. Thanks for being here.